What's up, guys? It's Rob here, and we need to talk about Nvidia stock, which has been blowing up over the past couple of days. Let's take a look at the chart right here. You can see even today, we're up over 4%, which is very impressive for any stock to do in a day, but is very impressive considering that over the past couple of days, Nvidia has just been shooting up ever since this earnings call when they came out with some very good numbers. You can actually see if we look back over a longer time period, they have had some very good earnings calls. Let's even go back further. Let's look at the past year. You can see they have had earnings calls that are just improving one after the other. And then this one is even better than the last. Now, I know it doesn't look that way, right? You see $1.04, and the previous one was $3.66. Well, that's actually because of this stock split that they had right here. It was a 4-for-1 stock split. So every share of Nvidia that you had, you got 4 shares of Nvidia at a quarter of the price. And these earnings prices have not yet updated, right? So this $3.66 earnings would have actually been much lower after the stock split because there would have been 4 shares to split that between. So if you adjust this number back to before the stock split, this would have actually been a $4.16 earnings call in comparison to the previous ones, right? So we are increasing, right? Just imagine this is $4.16 when you're looking at these numbers, 291, 310, 366, 416. So we are definitely improving earnings, and that is great news for Nvidia. They have had some very strong revenue growth, and that is why a lot of investors are turning to Nvidia as a stock to put their money in because they're a very safe company. We're in a chip shortage right now, and it looks like there's no end of it, right? We're going to always need what Nvidia is producing as long as we're using the current forms of technology that we are. So another reason why Nvidia is pumping up today especially, and why this gain, though investors already knew about the earnings call and had plenty of time to buy it over the past 2 days, may not have bought in during those days, right? The reason that investors may not have bought in over the past 2 days after the earnings call and are waiting until today, rather the institutions might have done this, is because of this red line right here. You can see this is the monthly option expiration date, and that happened on last Friday. Now it's Monday. We've had the weekend in between that. And the reason that Nvidia may not have been pumping up as much as it is today until after this date is because sometimes institutions sell option contracts, right? They may have been selling some call options, and there are certain strike prices, such as $2.10 or $210, which may have been very popular for some retail investors to be buying, right? A lot of retail investors might have bought the $210 call options, expecting Nvidia to shoot above it after the great earnings news. And while we are now above that, those options have already expired. So institutions selling those options may not have been buying Nvidia as heavily as they are now because they wanted those options to expire worthless on that Friday night when they did expire. And now that it's passed, now that that day is done, the institutions can go back and buy some Nvidia shares. Now we're at $217. So, if they bought those shares way back then, 2 days ago on Friday, then potentially some of the options that they sold would have expired in the money, and they would have had to give up some shares. They would have had to sell some of or rather turn over some of their shares to whoever was holding the call option, or at the very least, settle it in cash, and they don't want that. So they would rather just wait on their buying, which they are obviously doing today. We're up over 4%, very impressive gain on the day. And another reason why Nvidia is continuing this spike up, right? You can see we've continued this spike up, this is kind of following a pattern that a lot of chip makers see. We can look at another one, AMD. Very similar name right there. You can see that AMD, after their earnings call, had a similar rally, right? They rallied for about a week until they reached highs of $122 and have since sunk down a bit. It's possible Nvidia will do something similar, right? You can see AMD in the past has done rather similar things. If you look over the past 3 years, you can see they do have big rallies and then periods of consolidation. This was just another big rally. Now, Nvidia, on the other hand, you can look over the past 3 years, and they have just done incredibly well, right? It's almost just like a constant rally. I mean, yeah, they had a bit of a consolidation here, but they were still kind of making higher highs with each swing up. And Nvidia, I just want to point out, was at lows of $31.12 2.5 years ago, and now we're at $217. That is a 7-fold gain. Okay, this stock has 7x'd over the past 2.5 years, and that is incredibly impressive for any stock, especially Nvidia, a stock that's paying dividends as well. I mean, they're not the biggest dividends, and you don't really want the biggest dividends on a stock like this. I would much rather see the company keep most of the money, which they are doing, and put it into R&D and expansion and grow the stock price, because you don't get a 7x increase from dividends over 2.5 years, okay? That just doesn't happen. But you do get it from stock appreciation, which NVIDIA has excelled at. You can see 7x increase. That's incredible. Now, where NVIDIA is going in the future, right? We can kind of tell from AMD that NVIDIA could have a couple more days of rally left in it, right? This was a great earnings call. They beat expectations. Expectations were for 84 cents per share of earnings, and they actually got $1.04, so they beat it by 20 cents. That's a fairly big beat. We could see this stock going up a bit more. There's no telling where the exact peak will be. Potentially at a key level of psychological support, maybe 225, maybe 230, maybe 250. Who knows? But we can tell from AMD, at least, these chip makers often do see rallies lasting for potentially upwards of a week. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 days this thing rallied for. So, maybe a weekend was in there somewhere. And yeah, definitely a weekend was in there somewhere, because that was 5 trading days. So NVIDIA could be seen a similar situation where they rally for several days. It's not guaranteed. Nothing's guaranteed in the stock market, but it's a possibility. And you can see NVIDIA has often rallied for many, many days, many days in a row, even if they do have some small periods of downwards momentum. It often happens after an earnings call. Right here, they had the earnings call. They were not making all-time highs yet, but afterwards they did. We're on a similar pattern right here, right? We had a period of consolidation, much like they did before this last earnings call, and afterwards they just shot up and made huge new all-time highs. I could see us doing a similar thing, especially now that we've had this stock split. There's some more liquidity in NVIDIA. More people are going to be able to access this stock because the price is 4 times lower than it was in the past. So a lot of retail investors might be more willing to buy a share, right? Because it wouldn't take up that large of a percentage of their overall portfolio. Whereas in the past, if this was an $800 stock, then you'd have to put down $800 if you just want one share. Now you can put down 217. Who knows how much longer you'll be able to do that? Maybe it'll be 250 you have to put down for a share in the near future. We don't know. But if you guys have enjoyed this video and these kind of stock analyses, then feel free to subscribe. You don't have to, but if you're interested, then you could do that and see more of these videos as soon as they come out. You'll have an update. So thank you guys for watching. I'll see you in the next one. Bye.